Welcome to the Business Spotlight podcast. My name is Kay Cote, and I'm your host for today's episode. And today on the show, I have Amy Jackson, founder and CEO of TaleSplash, as my guest. We're going to be learning about her business, her journey to business ownership, best practices, and challenges that she's faced to give you that inside look to what it's like to build and operate a business. Welcome, Amy. Thanks so much for being here today.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. Well, before we dive into all things business, I'd love to share with my audience a little bit about you. So feel free to take us back as far as you want and share a bit about yourself.
Yeah, I've actually been in PR my whole career, which is, I know, rare these days, but I studied journalism in the end of my university days and had a specific focus on PR that parlayed into an internship, which led to my first job at an agency. So I worked at a big global agency. It was an exciting time in the food industry. One of my fun stories from the beginning of my career was helping the US Potato Board educate Americans about the health benefits of potatoes because it was the Atkins era. So they were getting a bad rap. And we did all kinds of fun things, including a balloon in the Macy's parade. So that was a really big bang for the beginning of my career. I actually went on to Silicon Valley after that and worked with a lot of different tech brands. I spent 8 years building TripIt's PR program. So TripIt's a travel app that makes life easier for busy travelers. And then after a couple more years in a corporate environment, I decided to start my own agency. I was inspired by a recent move to Austin. I saw entrepreneurs all around me doing really interesting things. And this was coming out of the pandemic when the real-time news cycle was like how many of us were making it through that really challenging time. Everything from supply chain updates to vaccine news. We were really watching the news every moment of the day. And so I thought, what an interesting time to build a PR agency from scratch using today's technology, today's news cycle. And that was in 2021. And since then, we've worked with a lot of interesting tech, health, and lifestyle brands. We're a team of primarily moms. So we really love working with companies that we can use ourselves and that make life easier, make things healthier for us and our families and our communities. So that's a little background on me and TaleSplash.
Wow, that is so cool. I touch into PR a bit with some other things that I do, and it is a fast-paced, really exciting industry to be in. So I'm super excited to hear, especially like a Macy's balloon. That's cool.
Yeah. Yes, there's never a dull moment in the world of PR because the pace of news and really the pace of social media and communications is so fast and it just gets faster every day. So,
Well, definitely. Well, I'd love to learn more about tail splash. It sounds like definitely the word is perfect because it is it's like it is this fast, like a tail splash. Kind
yes.
is that where the name came from, or how did
It
you
was it was that idea of I actually have like a weird obsession with whales going back to my childhood. I grew up in like the save a whale era. Probably is why
I
something to
did
do
do
with it.
Free Willy.
Yeah, Free
Free
Willy
Willy.
was amazing. So it was this idea of like bringing that iconography um to the world of like storytelling for founders very specifically. So when I started TaleSplash, I really wanted to help founders tell their story because what's at the heart of innovation is an interesting origin story, an interesting founder story. And that was really what I set out to do. And we've done a lot of that, but we're also helping more established brands these days with getting, their products into the hands of consumers or businesses to make life better for everybody.
That is very cool. So was there like an aha spark moment when you knew you had to create tail splash, or what was kind of the why behind it?
So it was a combination of being inspired by how much change there was in the news and how much innovation was happening around me in Austin, and also really looking for flexibility. I'm a mom of young children, and I saw embracing technology as a remote agency being something that was more conducive to motherhood than traveling around all the time and having to work out those logistics back home.
Wow, I love that because you really saw the kind of the need you had
Mhm.
as well as your clients that, especially you say you work a lot with moms and bringing that heart into it, which I think is super cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, let's dive into your team. Now, let's do a breakdown. Is it just like do you have a leadership team that you're like a board or what does like kind of that infrastructure of your team look like?
So we are a small team of women with a lot of industry experience, all in a similar life stage. So we've all worked in PR for decades. We have experiences across all different types of industries, ranging from tech to healthcare to even fashion and beauty. And we have that kind of senior level strategy background, but also love to execute. We love to pitch. We love to get coverage for our clients. We celebrate when our clients are featured in different publications. And now we're really embracing things like podcasts because it's such a great way for a brand to really go into depth around the story, the mission, the benefits, education, that kind of thing. So the team reflects that approach in that we are relatively flat. Yes, I'm the founder and CEO, but the women I have on my team have as much experience as I do. So we don't have like a really formal structure to the team, and we're pretty lean and can handle a lot within the current team. So yeah.
A lean machine. I
Yeah.
like that. So how many women or how many people are on your team right now?
So we are a total of 7 at the moment, which is
Nice.
a nice sweet spot for us.
That's a great, yeah, that is a great number. Now do you have any other like employees or 1099, anybody else underneath that main structure? Or is it the seven of you is the core?
So we have a core group of employees, and then we have contractors that we will bring in for different needs that clients have. And so that number can flex up as it needs to. But at the moment it's a good group of women that have, flexibility in their own family life. So whether they're a contractor or an employee, they're able to maintain their lives outside of work.
Okay, wonderful. And I'd like to dive in a little deeper on your ideal client. You mentioned brands, some like women owned. So who would your ideal client be?
So I'll start with what we've learned is a good fit for us. So because we have the ability to be really strategic and also execute, we are looking for collaborative partners. We're, in a business where sometimes people think of PR as a moment in time or something that might feel transactional. That's really not what we're looking for. We want that collaborative team that is interested in bringing us into their strategy too. So, how can PR help support their business goals? We want to have conversations about that. We will lead them through their PR journey. They don't have to know a lot about PR, but we do want to really be partners in making sure that what we are doing from a PR standpoint is, complementary to the work that they're doing inside of their company. And, we have team members, including myself, who have worked in corporate life and also on the agency side. And, one of the things that can be really challenging when you're inside of a company is having the time to manage an agency and be that collaborative partner. So it's really something that we want our clients to make sure they're in a position to be that partner with us and to have those regular conversations. Because if we have that kind of dialogue, we're going to do really great work together, and we're going to evolve the strategy over time. So we typically look at things like 90 days at a time because that's really the seasonality of news. And of course, it's much faster than that too. But really kind of testing a strategy out 90 days at a time is something that we like to do. So we're looking for their input, their feedback. What goals do they have for the next quarter that PR can complement? And then in terms of, where we're really passionate, naturally, as a group of moms, we are very passionate about things that relate to women's health and our family's health and safety. But we do have a lot of experience in B2B software too. So it can range, the kinds of work that we do. We've worked with nonprofits. We've worked with a lot of female founders over the years, which has been really rewarding because I'm one myself and I'm very passionate about supporting female founders, but it's definitely not a requirement that, it has to be a woman-owned business, but it is definitely a perk when we get the opportunity to do so. So,
Very cool. And I mean, I'm a female founder too, so I'm like, my ears are perked as well. Yeah, that's incredible what you're building. And so looking at how you're finding your clients, your marketing as PR, how are you putting yourselves out there to find your clients?
well, podcast interviews are an amazing way to do that. We advocate, about the power of podcasts to our clients because we experience it ourselves. When you are interviewed by somebody else and you share that, whether it's on LinkedIn or in an email or in other marketing channels, there's something psychological that happens where people see you as an expert. They see that you're being validated by an interviewer, and they want to know more and they can get to know you through that conversation, right? So we think podcasts are really powerful. We use it as a place to educate people about how PR works. And, the average person might find PR to be a bit of a mystery. So podcasts are a great way to just explain kind of the ins and outs of how to, you know, amplify your brand using PR. And we find that the best clients that we have the benefit of working with over the years are people that we've been connected to through like a personal referral or somebody that we've previously worked with in past work. So those tend to be, where we really see staying power.
Definitely. That makes so much sense too, especially like those referrals and um, looking at that side of things. So now with the company where it's at, where do you see yourself? I love this question. Where do you see yourself growing to in the next 3 to 5 years?
So we are, I think, pretty clear now after being in business for almost 5 years now, where we want to go. And I think it's really hard to know when you're first starting out, right? Like it's a lot of like testing and learning. And I like to use the Goldilocks metaphor, but you don't really know, what's going to work for your business until you have a few years under your belt. And I do
Mm,
feel like now we're in a good place where I have this vision of like this, lean machine we've talked about where we're bringing that combination of strategy and execution to a intimate group of clients that feel like real collaborative partners. And so that's something that I see sustaining us through the years to come, and something where, whether it's our clients or our team, everybody has the ability to get really great work done in the hours that we have to work, but we also have lives outside of work that we need to tend to. And that will continue to be the case.
oh, that leads me to kind of an off-script question, which is how do you find that harmony? I like the word harmony rather than balance, because
Mhm.
I feel like it ebbs and flows. So how are you finding harmony between running your business and, other parts of your life?
I think that's where the trial and error comes in as a business owner because it's really easy to become so obsessed with your company that you think about it 24/7. And I used to have Friday nights where I like had so much adrenaline going from the week that it was like really hard to kind of shut that off and like spend time with my family, right? And flip that switch. So I think every founder has to figure that out for themselves. And I have figured out kind of when to flex my um my goals and really like there's a seasonality to the company. There's a seasonality to PR. We see, certain times of the year that there's companies that are really interested in kicking off a PR engagement because they have maybe something they're launching in the fall, or they have, they want to hit the start of the new year, hit the ground running. And so I tend to kind of look at the PR seasonality alongside my family's own seasonality and the fact that my kids are in the traditional school year, and how can we kind of ebb and flow so that's in a good rhythm together. So summers tend to be a little bit quieter, and we're in the thick of the busy fall season, and then the holidays we get a little bit of a break, and then it's back up again. So it's very seasonal and cyclical, and it helps to have really strategic members of the team that don't need me for every decision. They are very capable at running their own, PR strategies, and I'm there to kind of listen in and help where I can, but there's definitely a strong team in place that makes that balance easier as well.
That's powerful too. I think that's a golden nugget of this conversation is, you know, I like divvying out the tasks and not like knowing you don't have to take it all on yourself, and
Right.
especially with other aspects of life that are very important. And so what has been like a win for you in being able to find that balance or harmony?
I would say being able to focus on my health is really important, and it's also a win-win with where our business is really focused around health too. So there's like this opportunity to meet industry interesting companies and interesting people that are focused on health and improving health for women, for families, but also to prioritize our own health at the same time. So that's something that I feel like is in a good place at the moment, where I feel like I am prioritizing my health while learning about women's health and doing what I can to help, because there's so much wonderful innovation out there. And yet it's such a complex healthcare system. So helping, wherever I can with, volunteering or bringing PR into the equation is something I'm really passionate about, and it reminds me to take care of my own health too.
That's really good. That's actually reminding me to do the same. So
Yeah. Get all your screenings done, yeah, exercise, all that.
all the good stuff. Uh,
Yeah.
well, another question I want to dive into is, how being a business owner can be a lonely place. It can be a place where we feel like, oh, we have to tackle a challenge on our own. So I like to share transparent challenges that business owners are going through for our listeners who are other business owners, to
Mhm.
feel not alone, and also to feel that you don't feel alone. So what is something you're currently challenged with in your company that you're going through?
I would say something that I've spent a lot of time on this year is taking a look closely at our financial picture and making sure that we are operating in a sustainable way financially. And I have worked with a fractional CFO to do the work to like make
Mhm.
sure that we're not, over indexing on the wrong numbers, that we're looking at the right numbers for the purposes of like building a sustainable business. And I think it's really hard when you're just starting out to understand your finances. It's if you're a first-time entrepreneur like I was, you don't necessarily have that skill set naturally. So, don't be afraid to bring on somebody that does have that expertise, that's a partner and helping you really shape the financial side of your business, because it's not something that we are taught to do. I wish it was a coursework that I had taken in school, but it wasn't. I was studying journalism and writing, so I didn't learn that. And it's just something that it gets more complex. Your finances get more complex as you build out your team. And if
Mhm.
you're in professional services, even if you're not in professional services, if you're in, you have a physical product line, that's also complicated, right? So no matter the business, do not neglect your financial picture. Find someone to help you if you don't understand it intuitively. And there's plenty of successful founders out there that have built, billion-dollar companies that have shared the same advice, which is don't worry if you don't understand a P&L. Like you can learn, someone can guide you through it. It is really important though to have a business that lasts and is successful, so don't neglect it either.
Oh, that's huge advice. Another golden nugget. And it is something a lot of business owners struggle with because our minds are oftentimes in the creative realm, and it's finding that drive to do the finances is a learned technique and
Yeah,
skill for sure.
exactly.
Well, this has been such a fun conversation so far. I want to get into our rapid fire Q&As where I ask you four questions that just answer very top of mind. All right.
Sounds great.
Question number one is, what is the key to success for you?
Finding your own definition of success, not anybody else's, but your own.
That's huge. Number two is, what is a piece of advice you have for other business owners?
To really think about what makes you special and different and focus all of your branding and your storytelling on that.
Ooh, that's a good one too. And number three is, it could be a book, a podcast, an article, just anything that has resonated with you recently.
I am really loving Emma Greed's podcast. She has some amazing, mainly women, there are some men, but really interesting like lessons about failure and success and they're like balancing family. Like there's just some really good stories on her podcast.
Nice. I love a good podcast. And the final question is, if you could wave a magic wand and rapidly improve one aspect of your business, what would it be?
Oh my gosh, that's really the hardest question. I would love for my new website to be ready today.
Okay, I want to do a follow-up question on that, and it doesn't have to be a rapid fire, but what's the challenge there? Because that's a big one for entrepreneurs is
Yeah.
their website. What's been challenging you with the website?
I think to do it thoughtfully, it takes time and you really can't rush it. You know, yes, you could like do what I did when I first started, which was like build my own Squarespace website. Like that's so totally valid to start that way. Or like I know there's AI tools out there that you can use to like create your website yourself, but I feel like, going through this when I worked in brands previously and now doing this the proper way myself, like it takes time and it's hard to be patient because you're so excited as you're going through this like brand and messaging and positioning exercise to really make sure your external, marketing channels reflect who you are, who you're a good fit for, who you're not a good fit for, all of those good things, but it does take time.
Definitely. Now, are you doing your website in-house or did you guys outsource that?
So I'm working with a creative partner that I previously worked with earlier in my career. And so it's always good to like find the right, again, partner. Don't just look at it as something that is a transactional relationship when it comes to bringing on a creative partner, whether it's for PR or a website or something else. I really believe in the power of having those conversations about strategy and not just thinking that you can snap your fingers, even though it would be nice if I could snap my fingers.
Oh, I know the pain of a website. So thank you for sharing that.
Ah,
So before we get to our final question of the day, how can folks find you and your business online, whether it be website or if that's for later, share any type of contact.
yeah, you can absolutely come to our website. We are at talesplash.com. And then we also are very active on LinkedIn and Instagram. And we love to answer general PR questions because we know that it's so common to not understand how it all works. So don't be shy.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for sharing that. And for our final question today, Amy, what is most inspiring to you today?
What's most inspiring to me is watching businesses that have really been through a decade or more and have really put the time in and seen success at the end of that. Because it's so tempting when you're first starting out to be like really hard on yourself and feel like you have to be an overnight sensation. And the reality is, overnight success stories don't really exist. It's kind of a myth. Somebody might go viral or somebody might, have a moment, become like, a part of a news cycle, but real successful, sustainable businesses and brands, they take time. So that is, I think, what's really inspiring to me is just to keep going.
Well, thank you, because that inspired me as well. And I'm sure a lot of our listeners here can resonate with that. This has been such a fun conversation. Thank you for sharing with me today.
Thank you for having me.